a little while ago, there was a new Nintendo Switch version that hit the market, and apparently it had a better battery, and some other things were changed. And one of the changes they made as well is the internals of the Joy-Con. Because as you can remember, a long while ago, this has been a problem for a very, very, very long time. The Joy-Cons are a bit weird and can sometimes have drifting issues, which basically means that the joystick will do whatever it wants and just get stuck, and you'll keep walking forward without you really wanting to do so. However, now with this new Switch revision, they have changed the internals of the Joy-Con a bit, and it's looking quite interesting.
Yeah, it seems like Nintendo was aware of the drifting issues, and they decided to change up the formula or like the internals of the joystick itself by quite a bit.
Basically, what happened, as far as we could understand from an article from Nintendo Life and some other videos done by, let me have a look, Spawnwave and Kevin Kenson on YouTube, the internals have mostly changed in the motherboard is different, and the sticks. How a lot of people fixed it was taking the housing of the stick out and replacing it with a new one, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's basically what you used to do. That you would like open the Joy-Con, you would remove the control stick and all the connections from the motherboard of the Joy-Con, and then place a new one. The problem you have with that one is that there is a good chance, like if you don't know what you're doing, you're likely to just break everything. So you really don't want to do that if you're not used to that. I'm really curious now with a new motherboard and when there is new components used, because another problem the Switch has, the current generation at very least, is that the USB Type-C plug, or socket rather, tends to break over time. If you look on eBay or whatever, there are a lot of broken Switches with a problem. It doesn't charge anymore. And I'm really curious whether Nintendo did something about that, because the only solution as of now is to open your Switch, desolder the socket and replace it with a new one. And doing that without like a hot air gun and without the right equip is basically, it's just not gonna happen. And like I said, it happens a lot. You can watch eBay and see that there is auctions and offers on a daily basis, even in Germany where I live, with Switches that don't charge anymore, and the number is increasing. And I'm really wondering whether Nintendo did something about that as well, because they had to revision the entire motherboard with a new Tegra architecture.
Yeah, because in the new version, they basically put in a new all-in-one chip, and that version is more battery friendly. It doesn't drain as heavily, so therefore the battery life of the console is just better now. And what they did with the Joy-Cons in order to fix the sticks at least is, by the looks of it, the box around it, the box where it's in, is different now, and they applied some sort of magnetic coating on the inside, which people used to do as well when trying to solve it. However, after the YouTuber Spawnwave took it apart, the coating inside apparently still flakes, which over time will just go away and just flake apart, and then it's gone and you can have drifting again. And with the USB-C problem now coming around the corner as well, and that becoming worse and worse and worse, and maybe they haven't even changed that, because I've never ever heard Nintendo talk about that. They mentioned drift before. They even said that they will fix everything for free, and they've had many returns already. However, I think they do not know about the USB-C problem.
Now, I tried thinking about it for a second, and it makes sense that if there is some part on the inside, like, I don't know, either rubbing off or something's coming loose, it's even enough if it's dust. As soon as the potentiometers inside catch a wrong signal, basically, they will send the wrong amount of voltage to the motherboard, and thus it will interpret it wrong. So if there is some sort of wear with, like, for example, plastic dust, let's assume that was the case, then it's very easy for drifting to happen, because because if that stuff gets into a potentiometer like that, it's almost definitely gonna pick up the wrong signal.
That could actually be the case with all of it, because currently I have a pair of Joy-Cons, which I bought like 2 years ago at launch. I got it brand new, and currently both Joy-Cons are absolutely screwed, because the buttons randomly do not interact or do anything, or randomly just press themselves. Shoulder buttons sometimes get stuck and they'll just hold, for example, in Smash, they'll just hold shield and nothing will happen. Both analog sticks do nothing sometimes, or everything at the wrong time. So Dust could make sense, because it started off with some light drifting, some light ghosting, and then it got worse and worse and worse, and more components got messed up. It started with the analog sticks, then it went to the buttons, then it went to the shoulder buttons, both of them, and now all of the buttons on both Joy-Cons are absolutely screwed, and you can't play 5 minutes without noticing all of them having a problem.
Boy.
Whew. really need new ones.
But yeah, it seems like Nintendo is at least trying to do something, even though looking at the evidence, it doesn't seem to be very effective. That's kind of sad. And there has been a lot more issues. Bent switches, broken screens, scratches in screens, scratches in the back. The software breaks or bricks. I've seen so many things already. The Switch is very vulnerable. Very. There is so many faults. Let's hope the new Switch fixes things up.